back. We are here for chapter 2 in our social media for small businesses course. And today we are going to talk about how to maximize the SEO value of each of your social media platforms. We are going to cover two main areas, which are profile optimization and formulating your hashtag strategy. Those are the two biggest things that come into play to make sure that your social media game is consistent on all the platforms. You may be asking, SEO, we're not talking Google, why does it even matter? It does actually really matter. So Google indexes all of the social media platforms from one perspective. Absolutely, they'll all be ranked, they will all show up in Google, but each platform actually has its own SEO matrix within the profile or within the platform itself. And a big part of that goes into how often your posts are seen and if your profile is seen and everything like that. So it's incredibly important to make sure that you have all the bases covered when it comes to your profiles and the hashtags you're using. So the first thing we're going to go over is the bio. And the bio for every platform is incredibly, incredibly important. You just want to make sure, first of all, that it's filled out. It can be the same information on all the platforms. That does not matter. You can pull information from your website. It doesn't have to be really complicated, but you need to have it filled out. On Facebook, there's actually two areas you need to fill out. You have the small bio, and then you have the about section within the profile settings themselves. For Instagram, you just have your small bio. For Twitter, you have your small bio. And then for LinkedIn, you have the about section in where you put all the information about the company. So the bio really needs to be specific, and we're going to get into that a little more in a minute, but just backtracking for a second, I want to make sure that you just know that it's important to fill out the bio, but it's also important to fill out all the other contact details available in the platform. They're all specific. You're going to have to go through each one of them, but just for example, on Facebook, you have your service area, you have your hours, you have price ranges, you have website, phone, email. There's a lot of different contact area pieces in the profile. And if you don't fill them out, Facebook is going to think, okay, they're just not, this business is not up to date and they're not engaging with the platform. So for example, if you have filled everything out and then, you don't have a business phone number, that's fine, but you actually need to check a box that says, I don't have a phone number for this business. They give you the option to do that. So take the time, fill them all out, go through every piece, list out every possible contact info, detail, everything you can think of. Just get it all in there. The next thing you really need to think about specifically for your bio, and we're going to kind of veer a little bit towards Instagram right now just because the Instagram bio is the most crucial out of all the social media platforms, and it's also the most crucial to getting found on Instagram. What you want to do is you really want to think about what your people, the people you want to attract, the people you want to engage with, what would they be searching for? If they came to Instagram and they typed in what they were looking for, what would they be searching for? And you want to make sure that all those keywords, something about what they would be searching for is in your bio. So if you are a painting company, you don't want to have a quote in your bio. You don't want to have something about your CEO or your founder. You don't want to have something about, a special paint you use. You really want to talk about your company, where you are, as much detail as you can fit into that little box. You can even think about it this way. When someone goes into Google, what do you want to rank for in Google? Translate that into your Instagram bio. The other thing you can do for Instagram specifically and for Facebook now is there's a name area in both of those, and you can utilize that name area as a keyword tool. So for example, if you are John Doe Law Group, that is the name of your company. Instagram is going to know that you're a law group, fine. But are you estate planning? Are you, criminal defense? Like, what do you do? What are your practice areas? You can actually put those in the name. So what you should do is say John Doe Law Group dash or slash, whatever that little thing is, estate planning attorneys. You can have all of that in your name. And that is actually the most important keyword that you can put in your profile. The other thing that's really important to do, specifically on Instagram and Twitter, is to put a call to action in your bio. So, use a little downward arrow, use an emoji, tell them what to do. Click on my website here. Download my ebook here. Shop here. You want to tell them what to do. You have to give them instructions. So make sure that you think about that as you're filling that out. So you have your bio, you're good, all set to go. The next thing you really need to think about is your posts, is the content that you're putting out there. Because first and foremost, there's stories, there's all the other things, but the bulk of your content is going to go out through your feed on all 4 of the platforms. And the way that the algorithm works on each of the platform, they're a little specific to each one, but overall, the way it works is the algorithm is going to measure and grade each post based on the information that you put in it in a couple different ways. The AI is going to look at the picture, or it's going to look at the article or whatever you post. It'll scan it and it'll say, I think it's about birds, or I think it's about home decor. That's part 1. Then what they're going to do, or what it's going to do, is it's going to read your bio, and it's going to say, okay, so this post is about birds. This picture is about birds. Is this caption about birds? They should match. Whatever you are posting about visually should match in the caption. And then they're going to look at the hashtags. So they're going to say, okay, so if your picture is about birds and you are talking about birds in the caption, are your hashtags about birds? Or is your hashtag Friday, hashtag life, hashtag vacation? You want to make sure that your hashtags are very specific to the content you're posting about. We're going to get into hashtags a little more in a minute, but that's the next thing. The third thing is the geotags. And so some people think, business-wise, if they're nationwide, they shouldn't use hashtag, or they shouldn't use a geotag. And it's correct and it's not correct. I would always say to use it, even if you need to tag the whole United States, even if you need to tag the state, even if you need to tag multiple places based on where you want people to see your post. The geotags are incredibly important to use, and it's just another one of those features. It's another way to say, hey, Instagram, hey, Facebook, I'm using another tool. I'm engaging, I'm putting time into it, I'm putting effort into this post. The more features you can use, the better. So make sure all of those things are related as much as possible. And then you should end up, starting to rank or starting to come up in search for those things. So that's another way that you will get graded and that you will get found in search is, of course, based on what you're posting about. But you have to make sure that you're telling these platforms exactly what those things are. And you do that through all those different features. When it comes to hashtags, I've put the breakdown of this in your guide for this course. But what we like to suggest people use is called a high-low method. And what that means is that you have high volume hashtags, and then you have really niche hashtags, and then you have some in between. And you need to always mix them up. So the first thing is the recommended number of hashtags are different based on the platform. Those notes are in the guide as well. You want to be mindful of that as much as possible. Sometimes you're going to need to use more. Sometimes you're not going to need to use them all. But for the most part, you should have the idea of how many to post on each platform. And the way that we recommend doing it is 20% of your hashtags should be high volume search. They should be the big ones. They should be, hashtag. If you're posting about something and you're in Miami and you're talking about Miami, hashtag Miami is a massive, massive search volume. But use it because it's relevant. It's going to show Instagram that what you're posting about is relevant to Miami. The next group is based on, Miami was a bad example, but the next group is your local hashtags. So those ones should be a little more specific to where you are. Hashtag Coral Gables, hashtag, Meatpacking District, hashtag Mission District. It should be based on where you are. If you're not trying to promote a service in your specific area, then you can roll that next group of hashtags into the more niche ones that we're going to talk about last. So again, 20% high volume, 30% local or specific to your area, and then 50% should be niche. And by niche, I mean hashtags that are small search volumes that are very specific to you. And by using those, you will have far better chances of actually coming up in search results. If you think about, going back to hashtag Miami or hashtag home decor or hashtag Jeep, whatever, you are never going to come up in a search for those things. Those hashtags are totally for brand awareness. They're going to tell Instagram that you are about those things, but you will never get found through those. The local hashtags are going to let you start to get found locally, and the niche hashtags are going to let people find you, the right people who are interested in your services. And those are the people, they're already looking for you. So that's how you'll get found. So on that featured page where you can see the hashtags, you have a much better chance of showing up there if you're using the niche hashtags. The next thing after hashtags is all the tools of the platforms. So we're going to get into this a little bit more in a further on chapter, but for right now, just to keep it, covering our bases as we're doing through this whole course, you just want to make sure that as much as possible that you are using all the tools on every platform. And that might seem like a lot, but if you're working to develop a content strategy, then it is really doable. And it's another one of those things where the more you engage, the more you use, the more that you're showing all these companies and all these platforms that you are putting in the time, it's going to come back to you. Literally, they will show you so much more if you are putting the effort in. So by tools, I mean for Facebook, for example. On Facebook, you can do posts, you can do stories, you can create groups, and you can comment and engage in groups. You can do live videos, and then you can also upload regular videos. So that is 6 things that you can do just on that platform alone. The more of those things you do, the better that all of your stuff will rank. Your profile will get seen more, your posts will get seen more, and it's the same for all the other platforms. So for Instagram, you can do posts, you can do stories, you can do IGTV, you can do live, and you can do reels. Another huge set of things, which again, we'll link a lot of articles about, getting into each one of those things in the course guide. But again, lots of different ways to engage, lots of different ways to use the platform, and you'll reach people different ways through different things. Some people don't look at the feed. So if you were only ever posting on the feed, you will never reach those people. Some people only look at stories. And then if you are only doing stories, and some people just scroll and they don't look at stories, they just look at the feed. So you really want to make sure, again, all about covering your bases. Use as many of them as you can and create content that can span across the platforms. So if you make a video, you can post it on Facebook, you can post it on Instagram, you can post it on Twitter, you can post it on LinkedIn. You can do it on the stories across all the platforms. If it's long enough, you can do it as a live video on Facebook, or you can do it as IGTV. There's a lot of ways to recycle content and to just keep creating content. And at the end of the day, all the content you create is going to keep telling each one of these platforms, this is what I'm about. This is what my business is about. And this is what I want to be found for. And you really, again, it's about being consistent. It's about thinking as your shopper, as your customer, what are they looking for? Making sure you have those keywords in there, making sure that you're showing all the platforms that you are putting in the effort. Everything is filled out. Everything is connected. Call to action buttons. Everything is just, it's the way it needs to be. And from there, you should be in pretty good shape. And the next thing we're going to talk about in our next chapter is going to be scheduling tools, posting schedule, and the analytics, which is going to tie again into all the SEO work that you've done. It's going to show how well you've done your content. It's going to show how well you filled everything out. And make sure to get ready for that course and get your show notes all set.